Okay, so we're gonna do the audit committee today. So we have Mr. Gravis, Ms. Green, Mr. Stacy is absent. And it is 4 o'clock on the dot. So Elaine, we're gonna let you go ahead and give the financial audit review.
Okay. Does everybody have the audit report?
I do.
Good, good. Okay, so first of all, the audit went really well. We had no problems with the information that was given, and we thank Danielle and Taylor for all the assistance they gave us. I know they're really overworked. These ladies are really doing a yeoman's job and trying to keep things together and make things operate efficiently. We got a little bit of a late start for the audit, so it was a little bit of a push to get this done by this deadline, but it was really necessary so that you can have the meeting and then actually do the Paris report and get everything filed by March 31st. So thank you very much for all your cooperation and assistance that you gave us. As far as the audit, like as I said, it went really well. We had only 3 adjusting journal entries to your year-end reports. The first one was to record the fourth quarter CEDA administrative fee and the share amount that was billed in actually January and paid in January. The second is the interest on the note to the city, which is a typical entry that we make almost every year. And the third is we calculated the depreciation on the website and booked that entry. The last 2 entries were not material entries. The only material entry that we made was the first entry for the fourth quarter CEDA payments. Starting in the financial statement, if you go to page 1, 2, and 3 are the new auditors reports that we're now using in all audited financial statements. They go into great detail. Basically, to just summarize, the financial statements were audited in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, as well as government auditing standards. The financial statements are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The second page goes on to state how in performing the audit, what we did in details, and also an opinion on the required supplementary information. The required supplementary information is the management and discussion and analysis that starts on page 4. This is prepared by management, and then we review it to make sure that the items are correct. We assisted Danielle in making sure that the amounts that are in here are correct in accordance with our financial statement. This takes quite a bit of time to do. It's not an easy task, and Danielle did a great job. So thank you, Danielle. On page 7 starts the statement of financial position. If you look at the very top, you'll see that your cash and cash equivalent is very strong, $840,000 at the end of the year. You had some a pilot payment receivable amount. This was unusual because somebody had made their payment to the city, and the city had to then cut you the check. So there was a little bit of an error, but your accounting found that error and it was resolved. Under capital assets, there was nothing added this year as far as capital assets. There was depreciation because the website is now placed in service. So you've got about $3,000 of depreciation for the year. So total assets increased about $80,000 for the year. As far as liabilities, you have pilot payments, and this was just mainly timing that the funds had come in to the organization, but you had not made the payments out to the governmental entities. So there was pilot payments of $544,000, a little bit in accounts payable. And then there was the interest payable, which is continuing to grow. I know there's been some discussion about this. It relates to a note that you have with the city for a piece of property that was purchased. And we have talked about before, you are in a cash position to pay off that loan. And then that way you wouldn't incur any more interest. So it's just another suggestion to look at. Any comments about that? No?
No.
No, okay. I know Roger had made some comments about it in the past as well, but I don't know whether you've made any movements to make those payments to save the organization the interest.
Elaine, do you know which property it is?
I have, boy, I don't. I would have to really go back far to see what that is. When we'd have to look to see when that loan agreement was made. That this has been on your books for years.
Roger attending tonight? No,
He's
he's gone. That's why we have Lisa. You know, Jim, I'll touch base with him when he gets back into town, see if he has any back information on this, and the property as well. And just to kind of relay the message, you say this is something we can pay off?
You certainly can pay it off. You're paying 3% interest on an annual basis.
Okay,
The agreement with this was made was when you sell the property, you'd pay off the loan.
okay. Thank you.
One of the other things I just want to touch on, you know, that there's been a few, the organization has really started to come back. There were some years, 5 or 6 years ago, that the organization had started to use some of its reserves, and the amount of cash and that was being generated from fees was really low. So the past couple of years, you've really started to do a lot more projects, which has helped your cash position. If you look at your cash and cash equivalents, this is something that's really important for your organization. You had $840,000, $855 with the receivables, and the amount that you have due is $544. So your positive cash right now is about at the end of the year is about $311. So the past couple of years with all the projects that you've had really has helped stabilize AIDA, which is certainly important for our community. We go on to page 8. The administrative fee income for the year was $195,000. Operating expenses at $86,000, left an operating income of $109,000. You had some non-operating income and expenses, interest and income and interest expense, leaving you with a net positive change in position of $108,938. As far as expenses, you'll notice there were increases in contract services. That's your arrangement with CETA for your fee sharing. If your fees are going up, your share is also, they've got a fee sharing agreement as well. The marketing project has started to, at least during this year, was lower than last year. So your marketing expenses had decreased. And then if you look down to depreciation, 3,301 is new this year, starting to depreciate your website. Questions on the statement of revenue and expenses? I'm going to skip over to page 10. This is the statement of cash flows. I'm not going through the whole statement, but I'm just going to summarize. At the very top, you'll see cash flows from operating activities, bringing you to a net cash provided by operating activities of $80,764. This was actually your increase in cash and cash equivalents for the year, bringing your total cash to $840,376. Page 11 starts the notes to the financial statement. I'm just going to go through a few of these. I'm not going to go through all of them. Note 1 talks about the nature of your organization. Note 2 is the summary of significant accounting policies. If there's any that the board, the committee would like to discuss it, please let me know. Over on page 13 is the detail. Note 3 is the detail of your capital assets. Note 4 gives the detail. Oh, okay, so here's a good tidbit for you to go back and look. This loan started in 2002. So you could probably go back to the minutes in 2002 to see what property that was. Or right about that time. And it was, and it's actually the 5,000, it's property at 5,000 Technology Park Boulevard.
5,000 Technology.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've been digging in files all day from 1999, so.
Jeez.
Accountants are known for their record keeping. So that should certainly help. So this loan has been, each year it
Rec Studios.
earning a little bit of it, or costing you a little bit of interest. Pretty soon, I think the interest is going to be higher than the principal. Note 6, I just want to bring your to attention. This was a new accounting pronouncement that we actually put into place last year. You do have a conduit debt obligation with Bluefield Manor that you'll see in the management analysis and discussion, but it's not shown in your financial statement here because you are only the pass-through on that liability. And that was an accounting change that happened last year in 2020. On page 16 is the independent auditor's report on internal control. We tested internal controls. They are operating as they've been set up. We really didn't see any items that were material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And finally, on page 18 is the independent auditor's report on compliance with public authorities law. Nothing came to our attention to believe that you are not in compliance. Questions? Items, anybody have any items to discuss?
Yeah, really. So the total amount of that loan to pay off is 23,100.
It's going to be that and the accrued interest.
Oh, for 9840. Okay.
So 32,940, yes.
32,940. Okay.
We haven't
thing that I've talked
paid
to-
interest at all.
Pardon?
We haven't paid interest,
No, it's just been accruing.
always accrued.
Yes.
Did you say that was the Mac Studios?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I can reach out to Jenny Haynes.
One of the other things that I've talked to the board before is just to talk to the city to see if you could get maybe a part waiver on the interest, or the interest dropped, because until just recently with the rates increasing, 3% was probably higher than what typically would be on a loan such as this. But I know you guys have your hands full. You also received 2 letters in the packet. The first one I'll refer to as the shorter letter. It's a 1-page letter. This basically states that we did look at the internal controls for your organization. As we tested them, we did not find any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. We did have a material bookkeeping entry that was made that we talked about for the CETA fourth quarter administrative fees and fee share. And then there were the two other minor, and we didn't consider that a control deficiency. Actually, there was a discussion in your minutes, so you knew that it existed. Also, the longer letter is the letter to the board of directors as for governance. It goes through the significant audit matters, whether there were any changes to your accounting policies, which there were not for this year, your significant accounting estimates, which really are the estimates of pilots if they're of your customer's ability to pay, which you've really not ever had a problem. There were no difficulties in performing the audit. As far as corrected and uncorrected misstatements, I think we've talked about that a few times now, so all the journal entries have been made. There have been no disagreements with management. We will be sending, I think Taylor has already done that, sent the management letter for you to sign and send back to us. And we are not aware of any other conferences with independent auditors in regards to any other accounting matters. And there are no other audit findings or issues. Now, as far as the board, I'm going to just go through this in a more of a summary fashion. I should, depending on questions, I would expect that it would take me 5 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes if they have more questions.
That sounds good. Thank you, Elaine. You've been wonderful to work with. I appreciate
Yeah,
your
thank you.
patience.
I know it's been a rough year for you guys.
I did send the management letters back to Taylor this
Okay.
morning, so she should have them for both IDAs.
Okay, great. We'll put those in the file. We'll go ahead, pending board approval, we'll go ahead and put the financial statements together and process them so that you can attach them. We'll give you the PDF copies that you need to attach to the Paris report.
Perfect.
If you have any problems with the Paris report, please reach out to us. I don't know if you've done that before, the Paris report.
I have.
Oh, good. Okay.
Taylor's in the driver's seat for the Paris report. I have my seatbelt on, I'm in the passenger.
Well, and you can stay, you can join us back at 5. I'm just gonna review the Paris reporting with.
Okay,
the board.
very good.
It's up to you if you want to stay with us.
So one of the things that you'll have to do is, as a committee, you'll have to make a motion whether you recommend the audit, the board approve the audit, so
Yes.
that you probably should do.
Should.
Is there a
Yeah, I need a
motion?
motion.
You
Yep.
need a motion? We'll make a motion.
But can I vote since I wasn't here?
Yes.
Yeah, you're officially on the board.
Yep.
Then
Your
then
first
I'll
vote?
second.
Phew.
Okay. So the motion is second, we'll take it to the full board at 5 for their.
Okay.
approval.
So I'm gonna sign off for a little while and I'll come back on with the other link at 5.
Sounds, it's the
It's the
same
same.
link.
It's the
Same
one.
link? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's why I was confused, Danielle. You did the link. I didn't realize it was for this meeting as well.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
See ya.
Okay, so we have the Paris reporting that has been started. It's not completed. That's contingent on a few documents that we have to complete internally. So the governance information it's completed now, but it was not completed when I put your packet together due to annual operations and what was the other one, Danielle?
Measurements?
Measurements. So those have to be attached to this page so I can complete it. They were not completed when I put the packet together. They are now. So this page is now completed. The governance information is board related, so we've answered those. These answers really don't change from year to year. These are just asking if we have like a whistleblower policy, time and attendance. If we have a full board, staff that's required to submit financial disclosure forms accordance to the section. If the performance evaluation was completed, you guys completed it last year. So that's page 2. Page 3 goes into the board of directors, so the board itself, the members. You'll see that Roger Beer is still on here for 2021. When I do this next year, Lisa will replace Roger on, well, Roger will still show,
Yeah.
but Lisa will also show, so you'll have 10 members for 2022.
Okay.
And then 2023, he will come off. So all of the members are still the same. Page 8 that's just the end of it. Page 9, Tracy, I did not add her just yet. We are part-time staff for the IDA, so Danielle and myself is listed. I will add Tracy on here. And you'll have 3 employees for 2021. This is just another list for the board members to say that, you're not being paid to sit on the board. We're not paying for transportation, housing, a severance package, none of that. So none of those benefits apply.
Right.
Let's see, this is subsidiary component union verification. I have not completed this just yet. Normally things aren't on here, but I will double check one more time. This is page 12, the summary financial information, that is what we just reviewed with Elaine. So I will now update that and enter those numbers in, so that will be completed. Let's see, current debt. We have current debt, the bond is technically considered debt for us. Let's see, schedule of authority debt. So you see that the conduit debt is the bond that is on here. We do not have any real property acquisition or disposal. We do not enter the option to purchase on here because we have not sold it yet.
Okay.
So even though we are in that limbo of an option to purchase with Terrapin, this is not, it doesn't qualify for this.
So even if they're paying the annual,
They didn't pay for 2020.
not 21, okay,
Yeah, so they won't make the list.
but future years it will, it'll reflect.
Well,
on
we
there.
still own it, so we didn't
Okay.
dispose of the land.
Okay,
So once they exercise the option.
Yeah, so once, yep, so
What's
once the,
that?
so Terrapin is the cannabis company that has entered agreement with AIDA for an option to purchase. They're waiting for New York State to finalize their licensing and permitting. So up to 5 years, IDA will hold the parcel in the technology park for them. And then they have to pay an annual fee that will go towards the purchase price of it.
Okay.
If for whatever reason they decide to pull out of that property, the IDA keeps all of the funding or the money that they get annually.
Okay.
But at the end of it, they'll have to pay the full property purchase amount.
Okay.
It's just unique. They're not gonna buy the property outright until the state finalizes the cannabis laws.
yeah, so page 18, the board does not have any personal property. Those are just the property questions, so those will be filled in on page 19. Page 20 are all the projects. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Someone started, but now, this is why. So I have 5 that have not submitted their annual reporting documents. I have been in communications with Justin Miller to send another letter to them stating that, they have to comply
Yeah.
with the annual reporting yearly. The half is they started it, the finance department did not complete it, so I'm waiting on the other half to come. I spoke to them today, so, and that will be Tessie Plastics. So the ones that are blank is, I may have them, I haven't entered them yet, so this was between time of when I put the package together in the meet and now they've
Right.
come in the mail, so I do have them. I'm down to the 5. So that's just a breakdown of any sales tax exemptions or pilot payments. It's just an overview of their project, the total project cost, and their savings of the pilots, job creations that they've made for the year, salary ranges for each project. And that goes to page. To page 42. So in total, there are 19 projects that the IDA holds. You will see in here, Tessie Plastics will actually close because they, did an expansion, they renegotiated the pilot, so it will still be 19. They just have to change how it's recorded in the Paris system, because they're technically a new project. So that has to close out and be re-entered. The investment report, that has not been completed yet. I will fill those in, same with the procurement, and we don't have any procurement transactions. And that is all.
Okay. So we're not able to accept it because it's not complete, right?
You can, yep.
We can?
Mhm.
Okay.
You
wanna
make a
this
motion
to
There you
accept the
go.
Paris report.
I would love to second that motion.
We're accepting it or we're recommending?
You're gonna
it to the
recommend
board?
it, yep, to the board. All right, that is all for the audit committee, so I just need an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Now, will you go through this Paris report with the whole?
Yes.